Thank you, Mike. I'm Alan Glassman, and I am your current chair of the Belknap County Republican Committee. First, I want to thank Bill Wright, Nancy Leroy, and Don Ewing for their hard work over the years as vice chair, as secretary, as treasurer, for all of their time and effort that they have put into our committee to make it a very fine committee, a committee that has been able to raise the funds to support all of our candidates, regardless of where they are on the political spectrum. And we've done very well. We had a great November 3rd election where everything in Belknap County came out Republican, even to the point where President Trump, Corky Mesner, and Matt Mowers got more votes than their Democrat opponents. That is the only county or city committee or city that was able to achieve something like that. However, there are some things that have gone on in the past which I think is very important to recognize when it comes to integrity. And I want to share with you my thoughts. And seeing that we still have some time available here, I'm going to read what I have written here. I was stunned to read Mr. Silber's recent letter in the Laconia Daily Sun, where he states, "The present situation is the second example of someone I know from the Lakes region who posted or forwarded an internet link to a story that they thought in good faith was legitimate, but that turned out to be of an anti-Semitic or racist origin." He goes on to say, quote, "Probably the best advice I could give her these days would be to take a break from the internet and social media that can so easily be abused." And let me just footnote in there that the reason that I did not comment about the Dawn Johnson matter is because my focus and my family's focus was on our daughter, 42-year-old daughter, who is suffering from a very rare, very aggressive form of cancer. And she is undergoing radiation treatments in New York City at Sloan Kettering Hospital for the last 3 months now. And we're worried about her health and about her life. And to have commented in about Dawn's issue that came out in the public, if I had spoken to anyone about that other than informing our committee, executive committee, I shared that with them that I would not be commenting, and I also shared it with Stephen Stepanek that I would not be commenting because we spend more time on the phone and FaceTime with our daughter while she's alone in New York City, and her 8-year-old son and her husband, who is a lieutenant colonel in JAG, they are both located in Hawaii. So they've been separated since October after she had surgery in September. But let me go on and point out that, and I will just say, I will repeat this. He goes on to say, "Probably the best advice I could give her these days would be to take a break from the internet and social media that can so easily be abused," unquote. It is unfortunate that Mr. Silber apparently talks the talk, but does not walk the walk. Last spring, he endorsed a candidate running against my wife for a Republican Party office. He chose email and to email an online article to contacts of his entitled "GOP candidate backed by terror-linked attorney as questionable past," just after midnight on June 26th, shortly after it was published. Yes, I am talking to you, Norm, and I'm talking to everyone else because I want to make sure that everyone understands what kind of a person you are. The article was a rework of an online article that was published against a well-respected district state's attorney in Florida during her 2018 campaign, in which she was falsely accused of having links to radical Islam and even terrorist-linked propaganda. At the top of the article was a photo of my wife taken with women from Pakistan at the World Affairs Council here in New Hampshire. These women were here with the U.S. State Department of State and met with women leaders in a number of states. I met with them, my wife met with them to speak about the Vester Roy Leadership Program, just as she and other New Hampshire Republican leaders have met with other women from other countries, such as Yemen, Afghanistan, France, and Indonesia. I have the utmost respect for those women. My wife also has the utmost respect for those women to take the risk to stand up, to run for office in their home countries and to work with our government. And let me just point out that that photo was taken during the Trump administration. That was something that President Trump was supporting. The email that Mr. Silber sent out was then forwarded, and derogatory notes about my wife added to it as it was passed along. We received many phone calls, emails, and text messages, many of which were extremely upsetting, hateful, and threatening, accusing my wife of associating with terrorists and being a terrorist. We certainly understand the perils of radical Islam and have helped with Frank Gaffney at the Center of Security Policy since the early 2000s, before most people knew what it was. We also trust our State Department and these women who are putting their lives at risk with our country, because at least one of those women who was pictured, her husband was murdered, and she was worried that her children would be murdered while she was in the United States. Yes, you're enjoying this, aren't you, Norm? Cut it out.
I thought this was a pitch for his campaign.
I cannot know if Mr. Silber read the article first and then forwarded, or if he was first sent an email from someone else and then forwarded that. Either way, he made a choice when he decided to forward that article and added comments to the email. He had a choice to stop his part in the attacks against my wife at any time when he saw that email had gotten out of hand, and when he saw the ongoing social media and text drop attacks against my wife's character. He chose to continue, even after knowing that our daughter had been diagnosed with a rare form of cancer and that our focus as a family was on her. He published an online article harassing her with photos of rhinoceroses, which is posted on Grok. So Norm, I wish you good luck. I'm pretty certain that you're going to be winning this election, but you have your approach to matters is despicable. You should be ashamed of yourself, and those people who are voting for you should be wondering why have they gotten into working with you, because there's something wrong with you. Thank you very much.
Grok TV.